Oh, there we go. Recording.
Continue. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, it's a virtual call. It's a virtual meeting.
I'm just not able to see you.
Hi, Palmer girls.
You guys are staying like segregated because of COVID-19?
Yeah, we don't trust that everybody's not infected.
Wow.
All right, Juwan's going to do 120 push-ups for us while he's watching. So
I'm stretching.
So Wade, you have Wade Port under my name, which is fine. I'm okay to be Wade Port.
Nice.
got it. All right. I'm going to end my video and turn it over to Nick and Arno.
Sweet.
Okay. Great. Thanks,
Wade.
Nick.
All right.
Good, Nick.
Am I coming in clear for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. What about me?
I can hear you, but the image is just
Frozen.
but that's all right.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, mostly everything's frozen, but that's okay. So, thanks for doing this, Arno. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So today we just wanted to focus a little bit on communication and all kinds of questions and whatnot that everyone might have. If you have any questions during the Zoom, more than welcome to just type them in, but at the end we'll make sure to have an open panel discussion. Anyone can hop on the mic and just take it from there. So,
Okay.
all right.
Quickly, Nick, how do I open the screen on the side where people can type questions?
Good question.
It says chat on the bottom, I believe.
Yeah.
And you click on that.
Click on chat. I see it. Okay.
Bubble.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there is people from all kind of different campuses here. It's just not LiveView.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just for you.
Great. Well, go ahead. What
All right.
do you have?
Cool. To start off, I just wanted to ask, why do you think so many students or chiropractors have trouble with communication or fear public speaking?
That's an interesting question because I just had, I was on a motorcycle ride with Wade for 5 days.
Oh, wow.
Actually 6 days and 5 nights in Colorado. He came to Colorado, and I was just talking to him about me setting up basically 4 weeks, 1 hour a week for 4 weeks class on public speaking and communication. So I'm set it up for like mid-September probably to make it happen. But why do they have so much problem? Message in school has become so complex, so diluted, coming from so many different places that they don't even know where to start and how to communicate with the public. So what I have witnessed is this: when people stumble into chiropractic, before they enter chiropractic college, but they're very passionate, they say, I want to become a chiropractor. Usually they can give me a fantastic communication about what chiropractic is about and how to enroll somebody in receiving care. And I always said, please, because what I have noticed is every quarter or trimester or semester that goes by, people are getting more and more confused, have inputs from so many different places, and now they can't communicate in what I call a street language, which I will rephrase as the way that people and the public talk to one another. So that's what happens. So to answer your question, that's a challenge we have had. You learn the philosophy, you learn the science, you learn all kind of things about adjusting, and you try to put all that together, and it's like the public is like, I don't even understand what you're talking about. So in the old days, the message was very simple. The brain, or rather the life force that is generated by the brain, flows down the spinal cord exit through the nerves in the spine, and reach every single tissue cell in the body. The same way that a water tower bring water down the main pipe and then spread out to all of the houses in the community. Create a blockage on the main pipe, and now you have a decreased flow of water to the community. Create a blockage on the main pipe in the spine, and you have a decrease of life force flowing to every cell of the body, every tissue, organs, and depending on which organ is affected, it will create a specific, very simple message.
What I'm doing with the lights.
Somebody is having like feedback or is talking in the background.
I'm trying to. I want to put them around.
Yeah, if you could everyone just mute themselves, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Martinez.
And if you have a question, don't hesitate to unmute yourself or write the question in the chat room, and then I'll answer it. So the message was very simple. To give you an idea of how I would communicate sometime with people, in my office, I had a room, because it was a historical building, the room in which I saw people for the first visit, which was also an adjusting room. But I had designed that room specifically for the first visit. That room had no window. So when I closed the door, it was pitch black. You couldn't see your hand in front of your eyes. So from time to time, when I felt called to do it, I would walk into the room, close the door, and touch the dimmer switch and kill the light. So now that person is sitting on a table, adjusting table. They were waiting for me. I came into the room, I closed the door, and I killed the light. And I would say, that's death. Then I touch the light again, and I say, that's partial life. I keep putting my finger on the dimmer, and I say, that's full life. That's what we do in chiropractic. Hi, my name is Arno, you must be Steven. That was my communication. People got the message. Other time, I would come in, introduce myself, connect with Nick, and say, hi, Nick, my name is Arno. And I would connect with them, asking them, tell me what's going on with you, not tell me what your symptoms are, what your complaint is, what your major complaint is. Tell me what is going on with you. And then 99% of the time, people will say, I have this pain, this ache, this symptom, this disease. And all I have to say is, I understand. In other words, all I have to say is validate what you just told me. Once I have validated, like, you must be really suffering with those headaches, and I know how that can impair your life, and I really feel for you. Tell me what is going on with you. Bingo! People start talking about their lives, about what's going on in their lives, and soon I can make the link between the symptoms that they're experiencing and the very nature of their lives and the circumstances of their lives. So I reframed it very quickly. And then when it was time, I would grab the occiput model, and I would say, put your finger through it, move the atlas and the axis, and they would feel like, do you feel that? Yeah, that's compression, right? That's a subluxation. So what we do is uncork the cord by moving the atlas or the axis or any vertebrae below, and freeze the compression. Simple communication, that was it. Time to move on to the neurospinal assessment, to the adjustment, to the potential response to the adjustment, and then to how frequently they should come back. End of the story. So that's my answer to you, Nick, and everybody else. It's not this complex thing, I think you have an experience when you were young that potentially you didn't integrate properly, and we're going to free that experience and that energy and liberate that energy out of your system, and that may affect your symptoms, but and people are lost. They're like, what are you talking about? So keep it very simple, very kinesthetic, very visual. Use common street language. Don't start to say, the cerebral hemisphere generate life force, which is called a forun, which is a unit of life force. and that flow down the spinal tract, and there is ascending and descending track, and it comes out through the IVF. I mean, people are like, what the hell are you talking about? Are you with me? Just simple communication.
Yeah, it's almost so simple that it's like shocking to hear you say that all you did was take the model, do that, and it's like kind of shocking. It's like, wait, it really, that's all it has to be.
That's all it has to be. The public doesn't care anything about anything, but can you connect with them? Do they feel loved and heard by you? And then what is the service that you render? You know, the dentist doesn't go like, you know, you just open your mouth and it starts working, right? It doesn't go, you know, you have a tooth here and it's part of all the whatever number of teeth that you have in your mouth. And there is an incisive here and a molar over here. And in the molar, there is 3 miles of lymphatic duct in each molar. And I'm going to drill through it and probably damage some lymphatic duct. And there may be some blood coming out of your gum. What the hell? No, open your mouth. Right? Same thing. Same thing. Just direct communication, street language, very simple, very common sense. So if some of you are in early quarter, record or write, how do you convey chiropractic right now to people? And is it successful? Are people saying, can you give me the name of a chiropractor? I want to make an appointment. Or can I come see you in the clinic? I want to make an appointment. If they don't, after you talk to them, then revise the way you talk to them. But then, if you're successful, and the most successful people are pre-chiropractic people or first quarter, then write it down, seal it in an envelope, and when you graduate, wash yourself of your education by taking 6 months off or 8 months off, whatever, 9 months off. Wash yourself of your education, reopen that envelope, and communicate in that simple language to the public.
Beautiful.
I see Lucy and whoever is next to Lucy going like, I don't know about this. Well, that sounds a little crazy, right? What else do you have?
I guess going further into how you were saying connecting, because communication is really about connecting to the person, not telling them all the smart things that you know. How do you work on connecting with another person on such an emotional level?
Very good.
Especially when they're stuck in a victim and they don't want to tell you what's really going on.
Right. First, let's make no assumption about where people are at, if they're stuck or not stuck. We don't know. We don't know. We make assumption. But do we all agree that when you enter a room and you meet someone, there is an energy field in the room? It's either comfortable or uncomfortable. Sometimes it's comfortable right from the get-go. Sometimes it's very uncomfortable, and it changes as you interact with that person. So what I did, basically, after introducing myself, which was, my name is Arno, not Dr. Arno, not Dr. Burnier, like I'm better than you and I know a lot and you know shit. No, I'm a person, I'm a human being, you're a human being too. So I'm going to connect with you as a human being. So granted, some people wonder why I don't call myself doctor. So I would come in and say, hi, my name is Arno, you must be Nick. Yes, I'm Nick. Or good to meet you, whatever. And I would say, please call me by my first name. Even though I'm a doctor of chiropractic, which means being a teacher of the philosophy of life and health, I'm going to ask you to call me by my first name so that we have an even rapport, not a doctor-patient rapport. Immediately, that killed something. It killed this myth of the doctor-patient and that distance of the doctor-patient. And it creates a very uniform field. So that's what I did. And I'm not saying it works for everyone, but it works for me. Okay, it kind of blew people's mind right away that I would ask them to call me by my first name. So just in that moment, I could feel something shifting in the energy of the room. Now, sometimes people are still like posturing or whatever, they're like, very cold, like a stone. Then I had a roadmap of questions to ask them in order to, quote, break the ice. But the moment that the energy in the room was harmonious, that I felt ease, I would move on to the neurospinal assessment. So it can take me 3.5 minutes, it can take me 45 minutes. But the moment that I feel that the energy in the room is harmonious, that there is complete ease in my physical body, I have complete ease, I can perceive their body be at ease, I move on to neurospinal assessment, pre-check, adjustment, post-check. That was my first visit. So what are the things that I would address? I would ask them, talk to me about physical traumas that you have sustained in your life from your early recollection to present time. That was a means to open up a conversation about trauma. The next one could be, talk to me about emotional traumas that you have sustained, again, from early recollection to present time. Third question could be, talk to me about chemical trauma you have sustained. Now, when you open chemical trauma, guarantee people will go like, nope, no chemical trauma. So I would probe. I said, do you take over-the-counter drugs? Oh yeah, I take aspirin, Tylenol, Motrin, whatever. So I didn't say, well, those are chemical trauma. No, I keep asking questions. Do you take prescribed medication? Yes, I'm for prescribed medication. What are they? So now, indirectly, I made them realize that they basically are experiencing chemical insult to their body. Okay? Now, if I still don't have harmonious relationship, I would go to my next step. Tell me about your lifestyle, your present lifestyle, because I'm interested in how they live their life presently. I'm not interested in, did your grandmother have diabetes? I'm not interested in treating disease. I don't care about all that. I want to care about how do they live their life presently. Tell me how you eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Tell me what kind of liquid do you take in? Do you exercise regularly? What do you do for relaxation and entertainment? How are your relationships at home, with your wife, with your children? What kind of work do you have? Do you enjoy it or is it hell for you? Do you take vacation regularly? So now, through this questioning, again, I'm establishing rapport. And the moment that there is harmonious energy in the room, I'm done, I stop. I don't have to keep going. And I say, great, let's start. I'm going to look at your neurospinal system. If they are less educated, look at your spine and nerve system to assess where we're at. And I do my neurospinal assessment. And then I move on to, again, pre-check, adjustment, post-check. Potential response to the adjustment, and then how frequently you should come back. Very simple roadmap. Yeah?
That's awesome. Thank you for that.
Simplicity.
Yeah.
The more, over the years, I've been at it since 1973, so I have a track record of connection with chiropractors, leading seminars and all this. Over the years, what I have noticed is this. The more steps people have from the moment a new person comes in to the moment they are done with their first visit, the more paperwork, testing, the more insecure the chiropractor is. the less steps you have, the more clear the chiropractor is as to what is it that they do, what is it that they don't do, and what kind of service do they deliver. I'm going to look into your ears. I'm going to look into your nose. I'm going to look into your eyes. I'm going to open your mouth. Let me feel your glands. Let me do a full physical exam. Let me do a neurological exam. Let me do an orthopedic exam. Let me take a scan. Let me put you on a balance scale. Let me put you on a SAMS unit for your postural analysis. Let me take x-ray. Whew. Yep. And after all that, you don't know squat about what you're supposed to do. I hate to break the news to you, but that's a reality. Go visit chiropractors that are highly successful, that are very busy. And when I say very busy, I'm talking anybody that sees over 100 people a day, minimum. Okay? And then see how simple their procedures are. The name of the game.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Arno.
You're welcome. And listen, those of you, Stephen, Lucy, Wayne, Dylan, Mo, anybody that's on the call, you know, if you have conflict with all this, just step in. Let's dialogue it. Let's talk about it. Because I want to empower you to not, hey, I have to do it like successfully.
Yeah, I would say, like, I love what you're saying and what happens, I guess, to develop that ability to create the ease in the room that allows that door to open for that care. I guess, like, it as easy and simple as it sounds, the steps to getting there, I know as a student, it's not as, there's a lot I have to go through. So I guess that part, right?
So are you Stephen or is the guy next
I'm
to you
Steven.
Stephen?
This is me.
No, you're Nick. So let me say this. If you go into a dental office, does the dentist has to convince you about dentistry? No. If you go to a massage therapist, do you come in and the massage therapist say, you know, so massage moves the muscles, moves the lymphatic system, it drains the body of toxins, it relaxes the muscle, it elongates, you know, the striated muscle, and you know, a massage is really good for you, and I think you should do massage. No, you made a massage appointment, you get your freaking massage, right? You lay on the table and you get a massage. Yeah? No different. Hello, can I make an appointment to Lucy Siverson's chiropractic office? Yes, great. Wednesday, 9 o'clock. I'll see you then. Now they come in, and most chiropractors think they have to convince people about chiropractic. No, they call to come into your office. Welcome them and give them the goods. So that's the first step, to realize you don't have to convince anybody once they step into your office. Now, do you have to explain why they need to come in regularly at the beginning at a high frequency? Yeah. And there is a rationale for it, and there is laws that govern that rationale. So we convey those laws, which they can argue with, and we're done.
Yeah, that's perfect. And it made me kind of think of how we need to convince someone. It kind of led me into this question of navigating communication around family or parents, because I feel like the ones that are closest to us, we want them to get what we get, so we try to convince our parents, and then we kind of might carry that on to our practice. So maybe some advice for any students who could be struggling with family members who, luckily my mom's a chiropractor, but not everyone's parent is a chiropractor. So like people who are struggling in those waters for communicating and just how to hold your own and maybe not have to even convince your parents.
Yeah, usually, as you know, what do your parents think of their child? What does he know is my child? So usually we butt against our parents. Chiropractic is not medicine, it's not good. My dad totally embraced it. And he had disputed, don't waste your time. Sometimes a close friend will totally go like, man, that philosophy is incredible. I totally am turned on by the innate intelligence of life within my body. I get it. And they get chiropractic. No sense wasting your energy trying to convince people that are a no. Spend your time and energy on people that are a maybe or a yes. End of the story. Class, right, that are anti-chiropractic. Yes? Right away and go someplace else. What are you doing here? Okay, I'm going to the Beaux-Arts, which is a great art school in Paris, right? And I'm against art. Yeah, I'm against art. But I'm going to the Beaux-Arts to become an artist. That make any sense to you? So in your class, don't waste your time with people that are anti-chiropractic. Hang out with people that are pro-chiropractic and that have made the shift.
Yeah, that's perfect. And it kind of leads me into a question that I was thinking about. And these are kind of sticky waters, but I assume you could say you're going to say the same thing for this. But when people come up to you and you get in a conversation about vaccines, especially nowadays, and that's such a sticky thing for people. Do you recommend doing the same, or how would you navigate that if you're actually just stuck in a situation and you want to communicate it in a holistic way? Or
Totally. I don't discuss vaccine. I don't discuss vaccine in practice. I don't discuss vaccine with people in the public. With my family, of course, my children, my wife, we're on the same page. Some other member of my extended family, we are not on the same page. I drop it. It's a sacred cow of medicine. You don't slaughter the cow. When somebody is open-minded, or if you can approach it by questioning people, people say, I'm going to get the shot for COVID-19. Say, oh, that sounds great. Do you? Huh. Well, I don't know either, but I think maybe we should look into it. Don't make them wrong. Like, do you mean you're going to get something in your body and you don't know what it is? Don't make them wrong. Just say, do you happen to know what's in it? No. Ask questions.
yeah, that's perfect. Just stay in your lane and
Yeah.
ask questions and don't judge people. Everyone's just doing the best at whatever they think is best for them.
Yeah. Don't make an enemy out of people when you can make a friend. And sometime over time, people will shift. I can tell you that being quote back then what is called a straight chiropractor, which I believe is just I'm a chiropractor. But I spend time with people that are called mixers. I don't make them wrong. I befriend them. And some of the biggest, most principled vitalistic chiropractors today were my friends that were mixers. But I befriended them. And then share the philosophy, share my understanding over time. And then they shifted. So don't make enemy, don't make people wrong. Yes?
I think it was Steven that brought this up last night when we met, but he was saying that something factors, because of course there are good and bad. So how do you kind of communicate with somebody who's been chiro hurt and wants to maybe give it another try, but they're really scared?
Okay, it's a very good question. It happens from time to time. And I always said, you know, do you know how many people get hurt by medicine? Either have adverse reaction, anaphylactic reaction, infection in the hospital, had a surgery that went completely wrong. Do they abandon medicine? No. It doesn't mean that you trash the whole thing and you throw the baby with the bathwater. No, give it another chance. Simple. And believe me, and I don't go, do you know that 3 jumbo jets fell out of the sky every day, which are all the people that die from medicine on a daily basis? No, because then I attack their territory. Instead, in a gentle way. We all know that people have adverse reaction to medication, that sometimes they have an anaphylactic reaction, that sometimes they have an infection from surgery, or surgery has gone very badly and they were in a life and death situation. But do people abandon medicine? No. It's no different. Why should you abandon chiropractic because you had one bad experience? Makes sense. Makes sense to me. I don't know. That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That Dylan, yeah. Where are you, Dylan? I love you, Palmer, Parker.
Hi. Hey, thanks for taking the time. I'm at Life West.
Oh, Lifeway. So you are at in a medical school.
Life West?
I'm kidding you.
I was like, oh, not really. I like it here. I'm in my last few quarters here, about to go on preceptor. I love chiropractic. I've been a part of all the different clubs and everything, and I'm sort of reaching this point right now where I feel sort of conflicted because I've talked to a lot of chiropractors who are very principled and talking about how the objective measures that they're using and the Titron scans are what helps them become principled and deliver the best care, whether that's through upper cervical or in taking X-rays and things like that. And then I'm also reading Our Masterpiece, BJ Palmer's last book, and how he's talking about being as specific as possible with the adjustment, and that's how you deliver true principled chiropractic. And then, but I understand from a vitalistic perspective as well that it is about how you connect with that person. And so I'm like kind of I know they're not different things because they're all about caring for the patient, but I feel a little bit conflicted. Like I don't know which way to go, and like I do think objective measures are important, but subjective and everything is so important too. So yeah.
Right. So this is a challenging conversation because it covers so much. Of course, in school, you take X-ray. They show you how to draw line, angles, and all this, and they say, see right there, that's a subluxation right here. So one, subluxation doesn't show on X-ray, only misalignment. 2, we're looking at X-ray, and X-ray is a static picture in time, but the spine is a dynamic organ that moves constantly. So to me, once I start to realize, why am I looking at an X-ray when the spine is an organ of motion? So if I X-ray the door right here behind me, I can spend my lifetime studying the door, I will still not know if it open or close. Interesting. So that caused me to question X-ray. That was for me. It doesn't have to be for you. My next thing is, it's about life, health, healing, and well-being, right? Chiropractic is a philosophy of life and I had a conflict with that. Then, talking about X-ray, we don't X-ray babies, we don't X-ray children, we don't X-ray pregnant women, but we adjust them. If I step into a chiropractor's office that is dead set on X-ray and I say, "Hi, my name is Arno, I'm a chiropractor," and they go, "Oh, hey, great to meet you. Do you mind adjusting me?" "Yeah, no problem. Lay down on my table." But I'm a chiropractor. They don't know me from anywhere. In all my years of traveling in the United States, visiting chiropractor, one chiropractor said, "I would like to X-ray you before I'm going to adjust you." Everybody else said, "No problem, lay on the table." Then I go on mission trip in Brazil, or have gone, I don't go anymore. And people that are gone state practitioner, dead set on X-ray, for 2 weeks or a week, adjust people without X-ray, no problem. And by the way, while on mission trip, see astonishing outcome, which usually they don't see in their office because they're in a different state of being. They are free from the insurance game. They are free from stress. They are totally here to give, and they give of themselves. They're totally blown open in their heart, and they see outstanding outcome. So I look at all this and I start to go, maybe for me, X-ray is not something that I want to use. That does not mean well, I fell from the 14-story building through the floor and hit the pavement down below. I say, I think I'm going to take an X-ray. Or I'm going to send you for X-ray because I don't have an X-ray machine in my office. I'm going to send you for X-ray. That's called common sense. Yes?
Yeah.
However, especially if they came in on a stretcher, they can be adjusted. If they can bear the weight of gravity, they can be adjusted. Now, do you adjust a 16-year-old athlete the same way you adjust a 97 the density, the quality of the bone, the texture of the spine, the age of the person, and so on and so forth. You with me?
Yeah, totally.
So that's my extra thing. So then the demography, right? So you see the graph here? You see how on the right side there is more red, and on the left side there is more blue? You see how off balance you are? Are you kidding me? The body is not symmetrical. Why are we trying to balance right and left? The body has nothing symmetrical. You guys may not know this, but I was in medical school and worked for a year in a cancer service before I became a chiropractor. You take a cadaver, you cut it straight through the middle, right side does not weight the same as the left side. But we have chiropractors that has balance scales, right? Oh, you see, you have 43 pounds here and 57 here. You see off balance how you are? Duh. The heart is more on the left. The liver is very big on the right. The right lung and the left lung don't have the same size. Did you notice that woman's breath? One is heavier than the other. I mean, whoa. So basically, to answer your question, Dylan, over the years, I've gone through every one of those things, and then I've gone discard, 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 discard. That does not mean that you should discard it. If it works for you, in order to communicate with people, in order to connect with them, use it. But I can guarantee you this, you may use it for 5 years, and after a period of time goes like, you know what, I don't know why I'm doing this, I'm wasting my time. Doesn't tell me how to adjust, how to connect with a person, how to be present. If anything, it creates distance in my presence and connection. So that was my journey, Dylan. Life is constantly changing. What are we trying to monitor by taking whatever the subluxation station and whatnot? What are we trying to monitor when life is constantly changing? Or we're going to do re-exam in 3 months. So the day before the re-exam, go in, Ingram, family got killed in a car crash and he's coming into the office. How do you think his readings are going to be? Or he fell in love with somebody, right? And it's going to look unbelievable. Well, I guess, I don't know, maybe we don't need care anymore. Because the whole idea of re-evaluation is an idea of progress in a linear manner. No such thing in life.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that insight. Appreciate it.
I know I'm killing a lot of the stuff that people are.
I'm not attached to it, so I'm just.
Think of it this way, right? Every day of your life, you are moving to the end of your life. Gravity is acting heavier on you. Your capacity to adapt, no matter how well you are cleared on a regular basis, is decreasing. So we're supposed to chart progress. It's erroneous. It's false. It's a false premise. No, the right premise is getting cleared out on a regular basis is positive for human physiology. End of the story. The same way that I can say eating good food on a regular basis is positive for human physiology. Or I can say exercising on a regular basis is positive for human physiology. What do you want to do? I think it makes sense. I'll come in regularly. you see how simple it can be to communicate with people?
Definitely. Yeah. And I like what you were saying earlier about taking a snapshot of how you communicate chiropractic at the beginning of school versus now. And I think that 6 months off, or however many months it will be, is going to be essential because I do feel like I've gotten more heady as time has gone on, and it was a lot simpler before I even started. So.
And Dylan and everybody else, do you remember the passion you might have had at the beginning of school and how 14 years has killed that passion and killed that fire? And those, we're interacting right now with people that are passionate, that are dedicated, that go to clubs. Look at the average student in chiropractic college that doesn't go to a single club. Where are they at? Yeah. So the fire that you had at the beginning, you got to retrieve it. And the way to retrieve it is to wash yourself of your education. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, let's all go to a waterfall after graduation.
So I have a quick question. So I've seen chiropractors offer $6,000 care plans on the first or the second visit. I've also seen chiropractors do the complete opposite and just say, "Hey, I'll see you next week," or go as far as not saying anything, let the person decide. Where do you fall between?
The person decide is irresponsible and totally unprofessional. It's totally irresponsible. There is no way that a person can know, especially if they have never been to a chiropractor, how to make a decision around that. I think that some people that offer a care plan from the first visit may come. Some of them may come from a very good place. Some of them may come from a greed and business point of view rather than a humanitarian point of view. I think that telling people this is how frequently you should come in because of the laws that govern the human body, and I may address this in a minute, give people an understanding and a rationale as to why there is a regularity of care, especially at the beginning, at the onset of care. At that point, personally in my office, Martinez, I had a set fee, and sometimes people never question my set fee. Sometimes they say, I understand you want me to come for 2 or 3 months, 3 times a week, and I'm totally committed, I understand, but I can't afford it. No problem. We have a health, actually what's called well-being made affordable program. And we explained to them what the program was. So the difference there, Martinez, is rather than saying, hey, I have this program that you can sign up for, I let people come to me asking me for the program. So I use the reverse approach. But that's me. It doesn't have to be you. I question the integrity of the profession in some of those long-term, we need to give you 6 months of care 3 times a week, and it's going to be $12,000. If you pay today, you can pay for $9,000. I question the integrity of that. I think it creates a lot of bad blood, because it would be like you coming into my restaurant, Martinez, and on your first meal, you're halfway through the meal, and I say, I want you to buy a year plan to eat in my restaurant. But by the time you get to the dessert sucks. But now you have paid for your year in my restaurant. I question this.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question, kind of going back a little bit of what you were discussing.
I'm not seeing that person.
My name's Chrissy.
You don't have your video on, Chrissy?
I don't, but I can turn it on. Hi.
Oh, now you are, Chrissy.
Yeah. So my question is, with patients who are, like, I know we as vitalistic chiropractors, we come from the heart and we do things a little more organically. But sometimes the world isn't that way, and people are kind of disconnected from that, and they are looking for like certain answers or like really specific data, like a Titron thing or X-ray or whatever. So how do you address that with them? Because I'm not really into like right now in school, I'll do them just to get more educated in my background, but like in practice, I don't see myself doing those kinds of things. Just doing the chiropractic work is really ideal, I think. But I know people have talked about how with patients who like concrete, objective things, like how do you address that?
So, Chrissy, in your question, you answer all of it.
How so?
Well, you say you're not really into doing that. So that's already that, right?
No, yes, but I mean,
and then what you're going to learn over time is whatever vibrates in your mind is a clientele that you address, that you attract. So it has never shown up in my practice that somebody said, "Do you have a research paper on the effectiveness of chiropractic care?" Never happened. 43 years of practice. Never happened that somebody came into my office and said, "Don't you have a machine to monitor my back or whatever?" Never happened. So
Okay.
now that doesn't mean, Chrissy, that once in a while it hadn't happened to me, but it could happen. Somebody step into my restaurant and I serve food, and they say, "Do you have a Big Mac?" And I go, "No, I'm sorry, you're in the wrong restaurant."
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Whatever you vibrate up here
Yeah.
is what you attract. You have clarity up here. You are clear as to what your service is, as to how you do things. That's the people you're going to attract. And the people that want data and that want machines and all this, they'll go to people, other chiropractors that do that. Make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Same thing. If you think chiropractic is for low back pain, every person coming in are going to have low back pain. Whatever you vibrate, that's what you attract. It's a law of life.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Come on, everybody. Any more question? Anything showing up? Don't be shy.
Arno, you had a predominantly pediatric practice, correct?
Correct.
So what did communication look like for you in there for mainly pediatrics?
I think in my 20 years of full-time practice and my 22 years for 3 years of part-time practice, I think twice I've asked parents to bring their children. The reason that I had such a large baby practice is because I gave talks on the gestation process to blow people's mind about the innate intelligence of life. And I gave talks on the birth process as a natural body function. And through those talks and through chiropractic talks, it became clear to people that children should receive care from the onset of life and that pregnant women need to be receiving care during pregnancy, if not before pregnancy. So that was a natural, normal, organic deduction that people had as a result of coming to my talks. And I want to be clear, and I think some of you know that, I did not give lay lectures. I give very profound talk on chiropractic building blocks, on chiropractic philosophies, on the laws of life, on what healing is, on what health is, on what well-being is, on what the meaning of symptoms, on universal intelligence, on innate intelligence, on life force, on the triune of life. So I had countless arrays of topics that I covered. Because my number one priority in practice was not to take care of people. My number one priority of practice was to transform their consciousness. Second priority was to address them and clear them out. So everything was done in my practice to transform people's consciousness. Anything else? Go ahead. Keep asking questions. This is your chance. I don't want to shock you, but I'm just saving you guys about $15,000 in practice management seminars. Reggie Gold, my mentor and teacher. How many of you have heard of Reggie Gold?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, some people have never heard of Reggie Gold. How many of you have heard of BJ Palmer? Raise your hand.
Okay.
Who's that?
That's a good start. Anybody heard of Didi Palmer? Okay. Anyhow, Reggie Gold has something so KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Remember that. Keep it simple. I walk into some offices, there is 5 CAs at the front desk. And I go out to lunch with that chiropractor and I find out this is 15 people in the morning and maybe 17 people in the afternoon. They have 5 CAs. I'm like, I don't comprehend that. There's a friend of mine right now in Paris named Romain Cardinal. Has been a year and a half in practice. Came out of school called IFEC. Had no money. Went to 7 different banks to borrow money when he had no money, no collateral. Everybody rejected him except the last bank. The guys, the bankers say, your passion and your vision for the community is so powerful that I'm willing to take a gamble on you. Lended him 300,000 euros, which is about $450,000. He bought an apartment and opened his practice. A year and a half later, he just bought a building in practice. In Paris. A building, not an apartment, a building in Paris. He has no CA and sees about 80 people every single day. You got to think of that. They make it so complex in school. I hear the kids talking about how do you run the business of chiropractic? And I'm like, what actually are we talking about, the business of chiropractic? So let's run it quickly through this because I know it's an hour into the call. I don't know how much time did you have for the call?
However long we need. Just
Okay.
like 5 to 7, but
So
however you need.
let's take not the first visit. Let's take a routine visit. So Tyson walked into the office. Hi, Tyson. Good to see you. Right? Because he has made his appointment. We know him. Hi, Tyson. Great to see you. So since the waiting room has people, do I need to say, Tyson, would you please take a seat in the waiting room? Or is it common sense that he's going to sit down because other people are waiting, right? Then the people that have been waiting have gone in, got them cleared out, adjusted, walked out. It's Tyson's turn. So I said, I'm the CA. I said, Tyson, you can go in, the Palmer room, or you can go into the Life Force room, whatever. So he goes in, he sits on a table until the chiropractor comes in. The chiropractor pre-check him, adjust him, post-check him, and say, Tyson, I'll see you next time, because he already knows the schedule of Tyson. Tyson's leave, go to the front desk, and I just said, I need to make an appointment for Wednesday, or I already have an appointment for Wednesday because I already pre-scheduled my week or my 2 weeks, whatever the case is. And you pay, and you walk out. Man, that is a complex business. That is really tough to run. You could have an 8-year-old at the front desk. Hi, Tyson. The Palmer room is open. Tyson, when do you want to reschedule? Wednesday? Great. What time? Monday afternoon. Afternoon, great. Early afternoon, late afternoon. Early afternoon. Okay, we have a 3 o'clock. Great, 3 o'clock. It's $45. Bye, Tyson. See you Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Really?
So, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Great.
Okay. So I'm not sure what healthcare systems were like where the Cafe of Life is for you, but I'm having a hard time communicating why I don't want to be in network with insurance companies, why I want to work for the patient, and why I still think it'll be, I mean, profitable from the business aspect. There's that's not a problem. And I still think that I could send a super bill and the patients would still be able to use their insurance. It would just be them sitting on the phone, not my CA.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I just don't want to deal with all that. It sounds crazy to me. It sounds like a whole rigmarole that I don't need to go through.
Agreed. So you don't want to deal with it? Don't deal with it. So I'll give you my take. 20 years full-time practice in Pennsylvania, cash practice. If people wanted to use the insurance, we let them know. We have nothing to do with the insurance company. I didn't contract with the insurance company. You have a contract with your insurance company. You deal with it. We will not answer call. We will not respond to anything. We will not provide information. When I moved to Colorado and I had my part-time practice, cash only, no insurance. So when they call to make an appointment, I would say the first visit is so much, subsequent visit is so much, and we only take cash. And I mean cash is green, no check, no credit card, nothing.
And I'm sure there was a lot of people that would just walk out at that point, but
no,
not many, right? Yeah.
No, because this is a generator. You guys got to get this. This is a radio station. This is a TV station. So you attract your viewer. Now, once in a while, somebody click on the wrong channel, and when I said, we only take cash, they say, oh, you don't take insurance? No, we don't take insurance. Okay, bingo. Or, well, I still would like to make an appointment. One or the other. If you have a cash practice, people are more committed to their care because they invest in themselves. And as a result, they will refer people that are more committed to, because a committed person connects with other committed people. It's part of their tribe. So that's a story. In order to take insurance, you have to be a prostitute.
And then a final question: how did you schedule timeline-wise? How much time did you give each patient?
Well, when we were in Yardley, we did four people every 15 minutes. So 4, 8, 12, 16 people an hour. But I want you to get this, Tyson. For me, every single step that I took in my office, every single move that I made was absolutely designed in time saving. From when I pull the headrest paper, as they lay down, as they came down on the table and they lay down, headrest papers was tailed so they could see it's clean, boom, in the basket. I had a roll that was preset. If my roll of headrest paper ran out, boom, I could change it in a second. So every step was made for efficiency. I felt I don't want to waste a single second of my day in serving chiropractic. And because I gave talks, there was no dialogue to be had with people because answers were given, or anything that they had in their mind, they had an understanding. So very, very little verbal communication.
How often did you do your talks?
And it's just not for new people. It's part of the care that's being explained and told to every single new person that I give talks in this office. They are horrible, they are very boring, but people have to come to them because it's part of their care. They got the irony of that communication. Yeah, you get it? Sometimes I would say, I give talks in this office, and unless you make your reservation, you won't have a seat, because that was the truth. Sometimes I would say, I give talks in this office, it's part of your care, and I know probably you won't want to come to it, but I'm going to ask you to do it for me, to come for me. That worked too. Or sometimes I would say, I give talks in the office, you know why? Because you're not a piece of meat. You're a mental, emotional, spiritual, physical being. And we're going to address all of it because you have been influenced by belief system and a culture. And we're going to address all of it because it's part of your care. So I had 50 ways of conveying why I give talks in the office.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I've got to start working on those.
Yeah. But my favorite one was, I give talks in the office, it's part of your care, and they are horribly boring. People hate them, but because it's part of your care, I'm going to ask you to come to them. And I would see people looking at me and then having a big smile on their face. So, all right. Tuning, reflection, thinking, and I hope I shake the whole bottle and decant. You know what a decanter is? It when you put nice wine into it. I hope it did that. All right. I appreciate all of you. Nick, thank you so much for setting up this call, and we'll connect soon. Okay. My love to everybody.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Arno.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Arno.
Mwah.
Bye.
Thank you from
you.
Palmer.
Yeah.
Thanks.